There are so many demands on you. Demands at home, in the boardroom, and in the bedroom. You have to be jack of all trades, wearing a different hat when the moment arises. You're on all the time, always on the clock, always catching up. Take care of you. Introducing Your Media, your podcast network that meets you where you are, when you need it, at your time, in your space, when you feel like it. You come first. Your Media, where you are. Married to Me with Popo takes a provocative look at our ideas of self and family in the 21st century.
Good evening. Welcome to today's installment of Married to Me with Popo. I am super excited about tonight. I've got some phenomenal guests in studio as usual, and I just want to say that I'm grateful for all the support, all the interest, all the feedback about how a certain show impacted you, got you thinking about something. I think this show is really just about highlighting the things that matter to people, but those things that we are sometimes afraid to speak about. Okay, so I've got two guests in tonight. The first guest for
Showdown.
the showdown, I have got Phume Sibisi-Khethang to come and have a conversation with me. I met Phume a few months ago. We were working on a show together, and I found her story to be super inspiring, super different. Phume, welcome.
Thank you so much, Palisa.
If I can just introduce you to her. Phume is a God-fearing woman, a mother of three boys, a pastor's wife, worshiper, businesswoman, and a youth ministry leader in her church. She was born in KZN in Vryheid. She was a cast member of the reality show Pastors' Wives on DSTV's new channel Honey, and also the founder of Bodla Let's Talk Women's Conference, which provides a safe space for women to unpack and share their challenges and help one another to find solutions through sharing their stories. She's passionate about helping the less fortunate, the elderly, and young people. She's a sales manager in the hospitality business, and she also owns a business that she runs with her husband called Hlase Creatives. They do charity work in Guatemala and surrounding areas. She's known for her sense of style. I can attest to that. Amen. And boldness. She stands for what she believes in and is not apologetic about it. She believes in helping other women find healing and peace through Bodla. If anyone doesn't know what Bodla means, it means to burp if you directly translate it. And I think it was just based on people just expressing and breathing and saying whatever it is that's on their mind.
Yeah.
So I think Phume's story is quite broad, and we've spoken about a lot of things, but I think what was most interesting to me was your spiritual journey.
Yep.
Before we get into that, can you just give us your background, what your childhood was, where you grew up, and what kind of family you came from? I don't want to just jump right in. I'd like some background on the person.
Good evening, everyone. I was born in Fred. I lived with my grandmom and my granddad and uncles and aunts and all the cousins, as most of us in that community we are raised by the grandparents because the mom and dad, the parents are away working. So I grew up there. It was a lovely, lovely, lovely childhood. I had really, really great time growing up in Freyet. It's a very small township called Emondlo. So it was, yes, I can actually even see my grandmother's kitchen and the over stove there. And yeah, it was really, really nice growing up there. And when I was growing up, the grandparents realized that I had a gift of being a seer. So I think we call it a sia now in English, just to lack of a good word
Yeah.
to call it. And my grandmother, who was a full Zayoni,
Yeah.
like full time a Christian, and yet we practice the culture.
Mhm.
We had to do the ancestral rituals
Mhm.
with Christianity. So I was raised in both ways at
Yeah.
home.
So sorry, can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
So it wasn't a situation where, like in my home, we were born again Christians, so we didn't even observe ancestors in any way. It was just it's God, and ancestors are people who've passed on, and we don't acknowledge them and we don't speak to them.
No, in my family, we're doing both.
Okay.
I was raised in both world, if I may put it that way.
Yeah.
And it happened that my grandmother has a sister that she was fully trained as a sangoma. I think at the age of 6 or 4, all her life. She's just been a sangoma. And my aunt, which is Umamnani in Sizulu, naye had a gift. Malume, my mom Kulu. So almost all my grandmother's kids,
Yeah.
they have a gift.
Okay.
Even those that they passed on, they had a gift. So from the grandchildren, I was the only one that they could say, okay, well, this one has a gift. And I had to start with the initiating and go through everything that a Sangoma is trained to do.
Yes. What was it? How were they able to identify that you had this gift?
Apparently, when they identify the gift is with me, I don't dream. Till today, I don't dream. I see.
Okay. Explain the difference.
When you dream, you have to fall asleep,
Okay.
obviously. But with me, I can just close my eyes and I said, I can look at you, and when now, because now it's a God gift. So now I have taken it to a Christianity way.
Yes.
So now when God speaks or when they speak, I can just tell you what is happening. So now I call them the angels.
Yeah.
And when the angels speak to me, then I can tell you what I see or what I'm told to tell you. I pass the message in that manner. But I don't dream. I don't remember waking up to say,
Yeah.
I dreamt of this and this and this and this. Even if I do dream, I will never remember the dream.
Yeah. Okay, but before we get to where you are now
Yeah.
and how you choose to navigate your gift,
Yeah.
so they identified that you were a seer, you know, that you had this gift. What was your experience of Twasa, of practicing traditional healing? How was that experience for you? Was it overwhelming? Was it positive? Was it negative? What was it?
The journey in initiating, I don't think it's any good for anyone.
Okay.
I don't think it's a great experience for anyone. But I will say I was lucky because it was done within the family.
Okay.
So for me, it wasn't as bad as you hear people to say they get ill-treated
Yeah.
by their Kobela, which is their initiator, if I can call it that. So I didn't have that cruel, if I may call it that. I didn't have that cruel treatment or that bad treatment because my grandmother's sister, younger sister, and my uncle, they did it for me.
Yes.
So for me, yes, it wasn't a breeze either because you're doing things that you don't know. You have to wake up in the morning like at 4 o'clock and beat the drums. Ugidwe. You have to go and palaza. You know, you do all these things. You know, it's not easy. And it's
Okay, for those who aren't familiar with these terms, what does that mean? I know what they mean, but a lot of people don't know what these terms mean. So can you just describe in detail what those things are? And how old are you? You were 10 when you went through this?
Yeah.
So can you just explain what that is?
I wouldn't know the English word to use it. Maybe we can just
Okay, let me try.
Yeah.
Maybe. So Hamotwa Palaza, basically there's
Like
there's
the
large
herbs.
amounts
Correct.
of water with herbs that
Yes.
you drink
Yes.
so that you can regurgitate
Correct.
this water for what purpose? What purpose is
The
this?
purpose, they're saying it's the purpose for making the ancestors to awaken
Okay.
the ancestors, and because that's when now you're starting to be trained to be able to see,
Yes.
to be able to read,
Yeah.
and to be able to hear them
Okay.
when they're talking. So they do all these rituals for you to be strong, like especially maybe when they cut in your flesh, and
Okay. They cut your flesh and do what?
and then they put like some herbs, or like it looks like like when you had a fire and then you take whatever that's the remainder of the
Ash.
fire, the ash,
Okay.
and then but it's not that ash. It's got herbs and umuti,
Yes.
like literally, and then they will put in your flesh and your skin, maybe like from your head down to your toes,
Yes.
at the back and everything, to make you strong.
Yeah.
And to say now your ancestors, now they must come, to invite them, to bring them to you. You'll be asked to drink the blood of goats when you're having ceremonies, all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were 10 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you were done with the initiation process, were you then in a position where you needed to practice?
Yes.
Okay, what did that look like? Like, what was your life? So how long was your initiation?
For me, the initiative was very fast because, and again, that's another thing. With initiating, it can be 3 months, it can be 6 months, it can be a year, it can be forever.
Yes.
Like you're thinking, why this person has go to us and they don't come back.
Yes.
So they say then when they explain this, I'm going to explain it in a Zulu way.
Okay.
I'm not sure about other cultures and everything.
No problem.
They will say, now, because it's 3 months, it's finished, now you must go back home.
Yes.
Then they send you back to your parents.
Yeah.
So I was within my grandparents' house.
Got it.
So then I had to leave the house and come back where they slaughtered the goat for me.
Yes.
And I had to drink the blood of that goat to say, okay, now all is well. Then with practicing again, it differs. With me, as I said, I didn't have the herbs.
Okay.
So I don't have iskwama. I didn't have iskwama.
Yes.
So for me, the practicing was to say, okay, Palisa has come into me and asked.
Yes.
So I will tell Palisa what I hear, what I see.
Yes.
Then it's up to Palisa. It's always been like that with me. It's up to Palisa what she does with the information I have given her. If Palisa decides to go to Mam Sebeletsi from the one that they use is water, that's Palisa. If Zodwa comes and she wants to go and use it, the herb, I was just to her, for that person or for that patient, if I can call it that way,
Yes.
I will just give you the diagnosis. And the diagnosis that I'm being told it is for you. Then you go and seek more help. So that's how it was with me.
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay, so you finish, you're done going through initiation. Now you are practicing. You're now living this life where people are where they're coming to consult with you.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what happened in between then and now. Because now you're married to a pastor.
Yeah.
You definitely identify as a born-again Christian.
Yeah.
You definitely, I'm making an assumption here, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
definitely don't pasha
No.
anymore.
No.
You don't have Samo in your room where you kneel down and you speak to your ancestors.
No.
Tell me about the journey of, I am a traditional healer. People are coming to consult with me. I am basically, what's the word? Communicating. I'm being communicated through by my ancestors to now I am Christian and I refuse to navigate in that way any longer because it's against my beliefs. Yeah.
Okay. When now I decided, actually I didn't decide to be a born again Christian. God found me.
Okay.
Okay. In between, as you're saying, people are coming to consult and all these things. I felt it wasn't for what I wanted because I was young.
Yeah.
So for me, it was easy to find a solution for this. I'm going to call it a thing right for now, just for argument's sake, for this thing to capture me. I wanted to learn something else. Even though with my grandparents, I knew there is God, which is unkulunkulu, but I did not have a relationship with Jesus.
Okay.
Okay? Because going to church, la ugogo wami bekusonta khona, and doing amadlozi, there was nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
So I never saw anything wrong. But for me, I was just not comfortable because there was something that was missing that I can't explain what it was. So I needed to go and find out what it was.
Yes.
Then one day I decided to go to a church where they call it etendeni. I don't know, yes. Where abazalwane, back in the days we used to have amatende coming to stadiums or schools. And I went there one day and I found myself giving my life to Jesus.
Okay.
That's how it happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think what I'd like to know, Phume, is do you think that the speaking to your ancestors, being a traditional healer, is in conflict with Christianity?
For me, I think it is.
Why?
Because you can't serve two gods. That's me. I just feel that you cannot serve two gods. There's one God and you choose that God. For me, the God I chose is the Lord.
Yeah.
That's one that now I chose, and since I've been on this journey with him, it's over 23 years.
Okay.
My life does not feel the same as it was when I was doing the ancestral thing, the rituals and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, I definitely, I think that there was a point in my life where I 100% resonated with that because I grew up in the Christian church. I grew up in the Christian church. And I found that my experience of the Christian church, just the Christian church, made me feel inadequate.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I in the Christian church felt very judged. I felt like I experienced a lot of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
In the Christian church. And it was only when I began to explore outside of that. I mean, I fully, wholly believe in God, but I found that when I began to also have a relationship with my ancestors, it wasn't a replacement of my relationship with God. I don't engage with my ancestors as gods, but more, for lack of a better term, as angels in my life.
Okay.
Who happened to be a part of my bloodline.
Yeah. Okay. With me is exactly the same. Like what you're saying now, for me is I acknowledge them. I know they're there because my mom is late, my dad, my grand. I know because, as you're saying, they're in my DNA.
Yes.
So I acknowledge that they're there, they are ancestors. However, I do not do anything that has to do with slaughtering, uphahla, go mabitleng and start telling them all my problems, going, this is what is not happening in my life, please do something. I do not communicate them in that manner. If I'm missing my mom, I will write on my Facebook page, I'm missing my mom today.
Yes.
She is my mom. She was once my mom.
Yes.
So, but I don't do it in that manner that I used to do it. And that's for me. I'm not saying for anyone must choose my way.
Yes.
It's working for me. And I have never had any problems because most people, they will ask me, so when you left Ngoma, didn't you have problems? Like or getting sick? And thank God I never had any of those. And when we hear people saying, when I left Ngoma coming to Christianity, I had bad luck, I lost everything. Thank God I didn't.
I'm going to challenge you on that. I don't think you didn't have any problems because you and I worked together for a few months.
Yeah.
And there were certain instances where you had, I can only describe them as episodes.
Yes. No episode I still have.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, as someone experiencing it from the outside, it seemed as though there was this thing that was pursuing you that you're running away from. So yes, you didn't get sick.
Mm.
Yes, you didn't have a car accident. Yes, you haven't had tragedy happen.
Yeah.
But you're saying you've been Christian now for 20
For over 20 years.
over 20 years. There's this thing. I feel like there is still this thing on your back.
Yeah.
You know, I think my curiosity is, at first, when you were, obviously you went Holotwas, and then people were coming to you for consultations.
Yeah.
When you gave them these messages, what's the word? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at that point you were acknowledging the messages as coming from your ancestors.
Yeah.
And is it the case now that you acknowledge those messages as coming from God? I think I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know why it matters where the message is coming from. And I think that's what I'm trying to understand.
For me, again, I'm going to say, with the message or with the gift, all gifts come from God, regardless of what they are.
Yeah.
It depends on how you want to use it.
Okay.
In the manner when I was young, it was used for only the way they thought it was right. And I
Okay.
don't blame them for that, because they only knew what is right. And because it was acceptable into their church. So they will use ubungoma, or they will use phahla and still go to church, and there's no problem with that.
Yeah.
So for me, then I chose to say, I want now to hear the word, the Lord's voice. I want to hear God's voice, not to hear the familiar spirits.
Okay.
Because for me, the familiar spirits, those are my ancestors. That's of my great-great-grandmother. That's of Alisa's great-grandmother, to say, please tell Stlogolo Saka Kore. This, So I don't want to, I have walked the path. It is a journey, still a journey for me. Like you say that you can see, you've seen the episode. I have episode sometimes on a daily basis, sometimes on an hourly basis.
Yes.
It depends on how strong the person that I just met, and then I see her things, or I hear her things, or his things. So I am now walking away, and I have walked away from the familiar voices.
Okay. I've heard this term familiar spirits. I know what those are because I was raised in a Christian home. Can you explain what Christians describe as familiar spirits? I don't agree with the familiar spirits term, but just for understanding, so that it's an inclusive conversation, what do Christians describe as a familiar spirit?
Again, I'm not going to speak for Christian, I'm going to speak for Phume.
Speak for Phume.
Yes.
100%.
As a Christian, as Phume.
Okay.
For me, the familiar spirits are the people that you know, that they have passed.
Yes.
That's for me.
Okay.
Yes.
They're people you know have passed.
Yes.
That's what you call a familiar spirit. And according to, let me not say Christianity, according to Phume, we should not be speaking to people that have passed.
Again, for me, we should not.
For Phume.
Yes.
For
For Phume as a Christian, yes, you should not. Because people, they are dead. They've got no right in your life. They've got nothing in your life.
Yeah. Okay.
They cannot be communicating with you because they are dead.
Okay. Okay. So I know for a fact that you are still embracing your gift in a way. I think I'd like to know what space, how have you found space for your gift in your life now that's outside of the way it was introduced to you, that makes you feel comfortable as Phume?
At the moment, I'm very comfortable, because now I even know how to deal with what I see of Upalisa or about Upalisa. Rather than before, where in the past, if Palisa had a headache, I will have Palisa's headache.
Got it.
Now I know now I have to look for Palisa to say, there's somebody that has a headache. Yes, can somebody come out, and we start talking what I'm hearing from familiar spirits to tell Palisa. So now I'm at the space where when that happens, I pray about it.
Okay.
I stand in the gap for that person wherever that person is. I pray about it. I've got other prayer warriors that I'm in contact with.
Yeah.
I'll be saying, guys, this has been happening for the past 2 days, or please pray with me.
Yeah.
Yes. So now that's how I have, and the journey is still long.
Yeah.
It's still long because it's not going to take a 5-day or a month or 6 months or 3 months just to get over in that sense of where it was done before. Remember when it was done in an ancestral way? I had to cut my hair. I don't know where my hair, there are things that they were taking off me that they still somewhere. So I still need to be strong in prayer and in growing in Christianity, just to make sure that I am strong as I was before.
Yeah.
But in the Christianity way. Yes.
I have one more question for you.
Yes.
Have you ever seen anything about me that you haven't told me?
Yes, I have. 3 times, to be exact.
Is it on you to share what you have seen about people, or is it up to your discretion to decide whether you share or you pray about it?
But listen, I'm going to tell you this. Like you mentioned something about Christianity, the hypocrisy, the judgment. I have decided not to tell people. And it's not within my right to do that. I've decided not to tell most people. Most of my friends, I don't tell them. And I see things about them, and they think I don't. But because I have never told them, so they think I am lying, or they think, no, she's making up the story. Of which is fine with me.
Yeah.
It's fine. You judge me all you want.
Yeah.
But I know what I see about you, and you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you know that I know.
Yeah.
But I will keep it to myself, and I will pray about it.
I will say this. My spirit knows that you know. I think before I even knew this thing about your gift, I felt it.
I remember.
About you.
I remember.
And yeah, I 100% respect your choice to not share. I am personally a prophetic dreamer, something that I struggle with every now and then. Sometimes I say something, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I pray about it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just decide not to get involved. And I think that with the gifts that God gives to us, or it's really up to you to decide how you navigate and how you can accommodate it in your life. You know?
The sad part with me is when I say things amongst my friends, I even subtract myself out of them for some time.
Yeah.
And they like, but where you? We haven't seen you. I'm thinking, I don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
Because when I see this and I tell you, because now you're thinking you've been my friend for long, maybe one day it slipped and you told me. No, it did not slip and you told me.
Yeah.
And again, same with at my church.
Yeah.
I've got this thing at church of clapping hands.
Yes, yes.
I clap hands and people will like, can you see your hands when we walk out? And I'm like, what's wrong? They're like, you were clapping. I don't even remember.
Yes.
So now I have found things to do when this thing comes.
Okay.
Because, again, of scared of being judged.
Okay. Okay.
And
yeah. Phume, I appreciate you. I think you are a valuable human being. I think you were born to be effective, to move, to change, to impact.
thank you.
You know that's what I feel about you. I feel that your purpose is big. I feel like your purpose is profound. I feel like your name will be known for something phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I would like to thank you for your time and for your energy and for sharing truth. I think the thing I appreciate and respect one is whatever that truth is. I don't even have to agree with it. I think that's the reason that you and I connect, because we are very different. We're actually very different. We have different beliefs. We have different ways of navigating our lives, but we both stand for truth. And I think that's where our common ground is.
Yeah.
That's where our common ground is. So I will go on and on, but we cannot. But I know that since Pastors Wives, you've been doing a lot of things. So I'd like to give you the platform to just like let people know what you're doing, how they can find you, how they can support your movements, your youth initiatives, whatever it is that you're doing, because I can stand behind anything that you are doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you for having me. We've launched Bodla. Bodla, let's talk. We launched the Bodla, and we've got a T-shirt now.
Okay. Oh, cute.
Bodla, let's talk. Bodla was found because of the same thing, of being judged.
Yeah.
Women can't talk to anyone. So we decided that we're going to talk together, cry together, share the challenges, and share how did you come out of it. So that's what we do. It was launched on the 8th of May. It was a huge success. We're going to Polokwane on the 13th of July. We invited Polokwane on 13th July at Radisson Blue Parking on the 13th of July for Bodla.
Okay.
We're going to Botswana. We're going to Rustenburg. So we're going to go and impact these women and listen to their challenges.
Fantastic.
But the one that is really, really close to my heart is raising a girl child.
Yeah.
You know how close I am to a girl.
Yes.
I love girls. I love girls. I think because I've only got boys. So what I do is I've got a youth that I call Sisters in Christ that I lead in my church, Calvary Bible Church International. I lead them from the age of 12 until the age of 20. We talk about all the challenges. And what we then do, I buy school shoes, sanitary towels for the children in Botswana that are underprivileged and disadvantaged. Then that's what we do. And then we've got the elderly ones that do the same. I collect clothes from all my friends to go and give out to people that they don't have. Not that I have, my friends, not that I'm rich, but I'm rich because God has supported the whole initiative that I'm doing. So that's where I am. And as a creative, we put together events for people. And because I'm in the business of hospitality where I work, so it's easy for me to put that together. So please support us, especially the girl child. Our slogan is "A child is raised by a village."
Yeah. Support Black business, guys.
Yes, please.
Phume, thank you for coming into
Thank
studio.
you so much.
I appreciate you. I love you. Keep going. I will continue to support absolutely everything that you do because I trust and believe in your heart and your intention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and good night.
Your media, where you are.
Okay. So as you know, I am not the only one on this platform. So sit down, pour a glass, and take a journey through the fascinating lives of some of South Africa's most influential names as they transcribe the parts of their story you won't read about in the papers. Through casual and candid interviews, Tiamo and her guests hope to make their life story and experiences a practical blueprint you can apply in your own life. Transcript with Tiamo. Subscribe on YouTube, listen on any good podcast platform, or find it on www.yourmedia.co.za. Your Media, hashtag where you are. All right, guys. So, up next, we have got our next segment, which is called
The Others.
The Others. So, as y'all know, on my The Others segment, I generally have people who are kind of living, alternative lives, making choices for themselves that they choose to make that may be seen as taboo, that may be seen as different. Basically, these people are my tribe because I'm that guy. So in studio, I have Noluthando Dubu to speak all things BDSM. Welcome, Mama.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I am fantastic. Let me tell you a little bit about her. So, Noluthando is a lover of being and of being. A lover of a gloss with spiked cranberry, loves being a radio presenter, a singer, and songwriter. She enjoys knowing that it is okay to be, and she is allowed to be all that she needs and wants. And right now, she's opened a platform for talk about sex simply because she is in love with what biology is and what it can do. Last but not least, a parent and a lover of life and this beautiful universe. Welcome, Mama.
Wow, I'm all shy all of a sudden. Can you see that? I'm flushed.
There is no need to be shy. You are welcome. This is an open platform. Sorry, something.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I don't remember greeting people. Actually, that was terrible.
My fault, not yours. So, Noluthando,
Okay.
tell us a little bit about yourself. I have seen your Facebook
Mm,
page.
mm.
Noluthando is always talking about sex
Well,
on her Facebook page, different aspects of sex. But I think I wanted to hone in on the BDSM.
yeah.
But before we get into BDSM specifically, tell me about yourself. Who are you?
My goodness, have you ever been so diverse that you kind of have to? There's like so many different ways to connect to who you are that you kind of have to go into so many different things. But anyway, um, I'm Noluthando Dubu. Born in Soweto, raised in Soweto. I'm like a whole Joburger. I mean, but home is KZN.
Yeah.
My mom and my grandmother go that side. Raised by my mother and my grandmother, single parent. Became one myself. um, I'm just like geez, I don't even know what I can say about myself. I've just always been this talkative person. I've always been a talkative person.
Yeah.
And in learning to be talkative, I had to kind of learn to also acquire information. So
Okay.
I'm big on always trying to gather information about how people work, gather information about how I work. Because, I know people think that it's easy to just know who you are.
Yeah.
No, it's not. You
Yeah.
have to work
Yeah.
a lot. And it's like an everyday thing. It's not like you wake up and you're good. So I'm just constantly always trying to be on top of who is Tando constantly going to be the next day. And well, even though I don't plan it, but I'm
Yeah.
always just aware of myself. So I think maybe that's why there's just so much going on about me. But yeah, I sing when I want to, when I can. And I'm in social media as well. So social media and radio presenting are my first loves, honestly.
Fantastic.
They're connected, so that makes sense.
Okay. Tell us about your journey and your story with sex. Sex itself, not BDSM, just sex. How were you introduced to it? What was your journey? What were your experiences? Was it positive? Was it negative? What was it?
So I had a really I still have a very open relationship with my mother.
Okay.
So she was always open about things. So anything I would ask, she'd be open about it, and so honest to a point where she'd give details if it was necessary. But she was always honest with me. So
Yeah.
sex started with me having the knowledge of it from a parental point of view. So I already started from like an older person.
Yeah.
It grew into knowing more about it because I love spending time with people that are way older than me
Okay.
because I connect with them easier. If
Yeah.
they're not way older, they're younger.
Okay.
So I just lost my virginity at age 18, and I only came for the first time after 2 years.
That's not just your story. There are a lot of girls. There are a lot of girls. There are a lot of girls whose story that is. And no. I mean, I am 37 this year. Yes, I am fresh as I'm 37 this year. Thank you. Um, and I guess I'm different in that I had a number of orgasms before I even had sex. Right. So I had an experience that was very different to what other people did. I've always had a very healthy relationship with sex and
Mm.
sexuality and
Mm.
orgasms and nakedness and
Mm.
all of that,
Mm.
you know. But I mean, because that's the way I started,
Mm.
there were women who I experienced, even friends of mine who late 20s, early 30s were like, you know, babe, I don't know if I've ever had an orgasm. I was like, girl, if you don't know, then you haven't had
You
one.
haven't
Because you know.
Oh,
You know.
okay. But you know, one thing that I actually learned recently is that
Yeah.
there is also a huge possibility that you don't even know the type of coming or orgasms that you're actually having. So you can feel something, but
Yeah.
you're like, it doesn't sound like the way it's explained, or it
Okay.
doesn't sound like the things we see on the internet as well.
Okay.
So I think those were my main problems. I was
Okay.
like, why is it that I'm not in there, you know?
Yeah.
And I think also, I'm not gonna lie, with the trauma that I went through, because
Yeah.
molestation for me started at a very young age.
Mhm.
But because we do this thing as human beings, where we block things. So you block them, you block them, you block them. When you get to a certain age where your knowledge is just beaming, you're like, my goodness, what was I? What was that? What happened at that time? So all that trauma only hits you then.
Yeah.
So for the longest time, I was just so depressed about the fact that my sexuality wasn't getting to the way it wasn't getting to where I wanted it to be. I was ashamed of my body, didn't like my body,
Yeah.
and I didn't have that thing of say no. It's
Yeah.
okay to say no. When you're raped, you're basically taught that no, you must never say no. Always a yes.
Absolutely.
So
you're taught not to have autonomy over your body.
True.
You were taught that consent is kind of fluid.
True.
You know, you're taught that to have a relationship with sex that makes it feel like something dirty and not something healthy, and that gives to you.
Exactly.
You're taught that your body's a tool. You're taught all these narratives that are inaccurate are imparted to you. Yeah. So yeah, carry on.
So that's basically how, I got to a point where I was like, I want to know more because I'm not understanding what's going on here.
Yeah.
So funny enough, actually, when I started my platform, the first picture I posted was me in handcuffs. That was the first way I felt it was the best way to kind of break in to actually talking about sex. And it actually had a lot of traction because people are like, hey, you're freaky, you're a freaky little girl, you like handcuffs, There's so many different connotations to what all these things are. But I'm not gonna lie to you, the beginning of handcuffs was actually my freedom. It was when I actually freed myself. I was like, I can free myself? This is how it works?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how it all started. So it was basically coming from a place where I wanted to know more, needed to feel more. So I needed to open myself up more to feel. And I'm not going to lie, healing is very important.
Yeah.
You have to heal.
Yeah.
But it's an everyday thing, and you kind of take it one day at a time, and it goes back to being aware.
Yeah. And here's the thing, we're taught that to be a woman of virtue or whatever you want to call it, like you need to approach sex in a very sanitized way. In a very sanitized way. You must be, and I think my thing is that, like, guys, sex was never supposed to be tidy.
Ever.
It was never meant to be careful per se. I mean, and this is not taking away from like consent, obviously.
Yes, of course.
But within a safe place where that's what you want to be doing with
course.
the person you're doing it with.
Yeah.
It can be as dirty as you like, and that doesn't make it dirty.
At all.
Okay, so I want to speak about BDSM specifically. I think firstly, I'd like to ask you to define BDSM for me. Even I don't know how it is defined. I just know whips, chains, ball gags, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I think for a lot of people, it's really intimidating.
Yeah.
And not something that a lot of people would explore because, wow. So what is BDSM? What is BDSM?
Okay, so I'm going to give you the definition. It's bondage, dominance, sadoism, and I'm not sure if it's machoism or macoism. So I'm not always sure about the pronunciation of that one. But a lot of people, I'm going to lie, myself included, I'm not always a fan of the S and the M part.
Okay.
However, I think that's what I love about BDSM. It's not all the way aggressive.
Okay.
And what I
what I always stand by is that one thing I don't want throughout my sexual life is that I do not want to find myself at a place where I'm like, no, you got to take pain to take the pleasure. Right? Because that's how a lot of people tend to think about it. And some just like, I don't want to actually take pain at all.
Okay.
So reaching a pleasure point through pain takes a certain amount of awareness. Again, like it just always goes back to that. It always goes back to the conversations you have with yourself and the conversation you would have with your partner or whoever would be with you at that time.
Okay.
So BDSM is basically bondage, dominance, settleism, egoism, machoism. I'm not sure how to spell that one, but that's what they are in definition, in Google terms.
Okay. What are your terms? What are your terms?
There we go. It is bondage, but in the bondage comes a whole lot of consent, meaning I have to be in control of that whole situation. So a lot of people think that the dominant one is the one that's actually in control of the submissive, but the submissive is the one that's more in control than the dominant, because the submissive puts it out there that this is what I want. This is what you can do. This is what you cannot do.
Yeah.
So the dominant already knows. And the thing is, it's so different because it's actually dominant and submissive, and then there's top and bottom. So with dominant and submissive, it's more like these people are committed to each other. They have this type of bond. They know each other inside out. They know. That's basically what it is.
Okay.
At top and the bottom, there's no ownership of the other person at all. So what you usually see with the bondage and with the dominant and the submissive is that the submissive would wear a collar to let herself know that this is who I'm committed to. So you have to kind of speak to my dominant to speak to me.
That kind of sounds like a dog tag.
I mean, I'm not against that. I'm not against that statement at all.
That kind of sounds like a dog tag.
But I mean, you would not allow yourself to be tied if you don't want to be tied. Come on. It's not one of those, because I'm your dominant, you must be my submissive. It has nothing to do with you not being in control, which is the strongest thing and about BDSM, honestly.
Yeah.
It's the amount of control you have, even in, well, I'm not sure if it's spontaneous, but I think it does have its moments.
Yeah.
But I think it also gets to where you and your partner are with that. But basically, BDSM is a full form of control.
Okay.
Like full form of control from the submissive and the dominant.
Yeah.
It's not I'm tying you up now, you must do everything I say. But that whole but if you think about it, isn't it like even though it's not necessarily like this, but you know, like how the male is the head of the house.
Yeah.
And the way you speak to the male as the head of the house, there's a way. You can't just be like the bread is finished, bruh. Like you have to say, okay, Baba, we've all been told, I Baba pedile help.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that tends to happen. It's basically the same thing. It's just there's a way of understanding that it's brought into, which is BDSM.
Here's the thing. I the concept you're speaking about aren't like super like fetched to me. I have not ventured into the BDSM space, but I and a number of people I know low key like being strangled.
Okay.
Like being spanked. And when I thought about liking being strangled, for me, it's the thing of, I know that you're in this position of power, but I know you won't take it too far. And that kind of turns me on.
It's you know what I love about that is that it's different for everybody because we're not the same. And if I'm being honest, what a boring world it would be if we all were.
Yeah.
You know? The strangling and the tying up and things being tighter, a certain amount of pain, that's the sadism actually. The certain amount of pain. It gets worse. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have not gone to the worst. But I am actually in a BDSM community as we speak. So
What
it's still going.
What is a BDSM community?
It's just a community where you are safe and you are part of
describe it. No, listen. Noluthando, a lot of people can't imagine
I'm sorry, I'm being vague. I was in my head. Yes, I'm so sorry about that.
Even I sitting here right now, to be honest with you, I don't know what that means.
Okay.
You know, I think a lot of people, especially as Black people, when we think BDSM community, we're thinking freaky white people who are doing some strange shit and are a little bit not okay. That's the truth. Let's just be real. Let's be real about it. We're thinking,
Oh my goodness.
you know, we're thinking so. Well, like we don't know.
Yeah,
You get what I mean?
yeah.
So tell me what you mean when you say in a BDSM community.
Okay, so what happened was I met this really awesome lady, right? So she invited me to a young introduction to BDSM. So she calls it a sensual introduction to BDSM. So she had asked me how adventurous I was, and she was like, "Would you like to be a bottom?" I was like, "Hey, wait, what do you mean?"
Yeah.
You know. So when I got there, I was very nervous, but what I appreciated about getting there is that when I got there, they were like, "No, it's okay, relax, chill, just be here, relax." So being a bottom means I was going to be experiencing the whips, all the things that were there. And I'm not going to lie to you, when I saw that table full of those toys, then I went around for the door. Because there was like planks at some point, there was hooks at some point, ropes at some point, some sharp things. I'm like, why are there sharp things here? They better not try none of these things on me. So I was already so nervous. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this. I really am not.
Yeah.
But she saw me go through this anxious place in my life. She was, wait, hold on. Are you okay? I mean, these things. She's like, wait, I'm not going to use all. You're not going to get to actually experience all these things all at once. You just got here.
Yeah.
Why would we do that?
Yeah.
You need to understand what you're comfortable with.
What your boundaries are.
Exactly. So that's why I said that BDSM has everything to do with control. So I wasn't tied up or anything.
Yeah.
But there is like a young little, table situation thing. And you bend over and then you kind of get things done for you. But as she does it, she actually explains what these things do.
What things done to you?
Well, I got, hit a little with a whip, but not painful. So there's code words. I think we all know the code words, right, in the BDSM industry. I don't know.
I am not in the BDSM industry.
Okay, for those who have been interested to find out, they all know that apparently.
But like a safe word.
Here we go.
Pineapple.
There we go. Okay. So we have safe words. It's just ordinary green, orange, red. Red, stop. And stop doesn't mean stop it, I like it.
Okay.
It means stop.
Immediately.
Orange means I'm uncomfortable. I need to speak about what you're doing. I don't appreciate it, basically. Somewhere along those lines. And then the green means go, 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 and don't stop.
Yeah.
So I had those words in my bag, basically, that I was allowed to say that all the way.
Got it.
One of the things that she actually said to me first, the lady that I went to, she was like, oh, by the way, I don't hug because I'm not comfortable with that. What they would say is, if outside of the BDS community, oh goodness, I'm stumbling. Outside of the BDSM community, there is called vanillas, basically, because you're allowed to. Basically, you're comfortable with the touching and the hugging and the sometimes and not in all occurrences, but then in the BDSM community, we don't like being touched, and sometimes we will tell you that please don't touch me, and there's also please don't speak to me in a certain way. There's just so many comfortable places. It's honestly, it's basically like having a place where you're just comfortable to be yourself.
Okay,
basically.
And how do you feel? BDSM has enhanced your sex life from a girl who didn't have an orgasm for 2 years? I'm assuming you now orgasm regularly, you climax regularly. Was BDSM something that led you to that place where your body knows what it needs, does what it does, knows how to support your partner in getting you to that place? Like, what did BDSM do for you?
BDSM basically opened me to myself, meaning also giving me the strength to say, I don't like that.
Okay.
And I don't want that.
Okay.
I think it's also opened up. When I had that one experience, I found there's certain places on my body that I was foreign of, that I didn't know that if touched like this, if done like this happens to me.
Got it.
I had no idea. So it's definitely opened up a lot for me sexually. Meaning I can actually, besides just telling a person that this is how I want to be satisfied, I know where they can go.
Yeah.
Because at times you get to a point where you're like, I don't know where you can go. It's somewhere there.
Yeah.
Whereas with BDSM, it's taught me to actually say, right there. And I'm not gonna lie, I've definitely had the help of toys as well, because I know how people actually do feel about toys, and I don't disagree with them, because they can be a little dysfunctional and you can get really addicted to them. So I've understood that as well. And because of that and the combination of BDSM, I've found full comfortability in actually vocalizing that I don't like this.
Yeah.
And after that BDSM experience, I had days where it wasn't okay. Apparently, you kind of do have a drop, because it's kind of like a drug.
Okay.
The way it feels, the way your body opens up, it's kind of like a high.
Okay.
So when you do come down, your body kind of has to rest, and it takes 2 days, 3 days, depending on your tolerance levels. After like my third day, I had this pain here on my neck that was there for like 2-3 months prior.
The third day of what? What, you had BDSM 3 days straight, or no?
You can't have BDSM 3 days straight.
No. No, I'm asking 3 days of what? Of recovery?
Of recovery, sorry.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. No.
I'm so glad you asked, because
I'm like, what kind of freak is you?
honestly, nobody can do 3 days.
Okay.
It's intense.
Sorry. You were saying you had this pain, yes?
I had this pain on the back, like right here on my neck. And it was the most excruciating pain for 2 months.
Yeah.
After that experience, it was gone. Immediately after that experience, it was gone.
Okay.
It's a different form of healing. Everybody finds healing in sex on its own is a healing factor. But I've come to realize that because we're not all the same, not everything is gonna rub us the same way.
Yeah.
So
Literally.
BDSM is basically that. And I'm not gonna lie, there are a lot of people that actually are interested in it, but they think because it's so hectic and there's so much pain involved, they're like, nah, don't count me in.
Yeah.
But you can actually create your own little BDSM world.
Okay.
Once you know everything about it, you can actually say, ugh, that's not for me. Oh no, I'm not doing that. Because there's so many levels to it. And all these levels are just levels of comfortability.
Got it.
Meaning defining what you're comfortable with sexually, what you're not comfortable with sexually. And actually knowing how to tell the difference and tell the next person that you're not comfortable with that.
Okay. As a parting shot, what do you think is the biggest misconception about the BDSM lifestyle and people who choose to navigate in that way? And how do we correct that?
I'm gonna need you to ask me this question in detail.
No, what do you think the biggest misconception is? Obviously, it's taboo. Taboo.
Of course.
And I think it's taboo because there's a misconception of sorts.
Okay.
What do you think that misconception is? Where do you think the misunderstanding is? And what is the actual truth?
The pain,
Uh-huh.
not having control. And I think honestly those are the two things. Oh, and that it's just for white people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's a fact, because because the lady that actually did this with me, she's white, and she's always said that I want people to understand that it's not that deep, and it's not just for us.
Yeah.
It's for everyone who's interested in. She actually has told me quite a few times that a lot of people who were raped after having a BDSM experience started actually healing. And I'm going to stand by that one, because you actually get to teach the next person what a no is, and you actually get the power to say no.
Yeah.
Because it's like, as women, it's like we're taught that we're just supposed to take things. Just take it, because
this is true.
Yeah, just take it. And with BDSM, there's no such thing. You actually have a platform and be like, I'm not taking it, and I don't want to do that.
Okay.
So I think one thing that I feel the way we can definitely change that is, excuse me,
no problem,
education.
Yeah.
Educate if you really are interested, because I know a lot of people tend to say, I'm so tired of the same old boring sex. I'm tired of climbing out. And I'm like, okay, cool. If then you're tired, would you like to try something else?
Yeah.
You know? But another thing I always stand by is that it's actually very important to actually have a connection if you're the type who doesn't have not necessarily a connection with yourself, but also willing to connect with the next person sexually. Your sex life will always be boring.
Got it.
Always. It'll always just be, oh goodness, there we go, wee out. And then you're done.
Yeah.
It's like 5 minutes. So honestly, education.
Okay.
And that's basically why I opened my platform. So I can educate people.
Tell us about your platform. How can people get in touch with you? What are you busy with?
goodness, I'm
Like,
everywhere.
put yourself on. No, then be everywhere.
Okay, hold
Let's
on, let
wrap
me
it
just
up.
say
Put yourself on. Okay.
Okay. So currently I'm actually selling sex toys. With the sex toys actually does come a nice little package of education. We are also looking to host quite a few events that have to do with educating people on, the sex toys,
Yeah.
or just educating people about sex in general. And I think a lot of people will be like, okay, but we don't want to know, we don't need to know anything about sex. And it's like, actually, you do, because you kind of have to find yourself in the sex. Who am I in this sexual industry, or as I'm having sex? You can find me everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. YouTube, though, it's the Naked Truth SA. I usually do reviews, honest, unbiased reviews of different types of toys, and where you can find them. And with me selling, I actually brought you a little, something to look at.
Show us.
I mean, like, you're not gonna, I'm not gonna switch it on, no. But this is actually something I have running a special on right now. It's actually 15% off. So it's a cute little bullet. Because this one is quite strong, you might not want to put it on your clitoris as a woman, right? Direct. Even with males, you might want to you can actually just put your finger here. Put this finger here and let this be the thing that actually touches the genital.
Contact.
Yeah. So that it doesn't, because this is quite strong. So I'm running a 15% off this. It's really, really cute.
So how much is it right now? Say it. Say it.
Wait, actually, I think it's going for 1 point. I never know because we have too many toys, honestly.
Okay, and how
I
can
never
people
know.
get in touch with you?
Facebook, Instagram. I am Noluthando Dubu on Facebook. I am Noluthando.Dubu on Instagram. I am Noluthando Dubu on Twitter. All those platforms, Noluthando Dubu, basically. I think the only one that was different was Facebook, right? Missy, yes.
Yeah.
So that's where you can find me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mama. Keep doing your thing. Keep spreading the word. Keep walking in truth. Keep walking confidently.
I love what you do.
Continue. Thank you.
Like, this is a great platform. I mean, I learned so much from your previous guest.
Yeah.
She's so amazing. You
Yeah.
learned so much. So I don't know. I understand that people are not sure where are they. Doing what? Doing what?
This platform is not about gassing me up. Thank you so much, though. Thank you so much, though.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you. I really appreciate sharing. It's my favorite thing. Conversation, impartation, all of that. So yeah, bless you, and I wish you all the best in absolutely everything. Get it.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. Those who were
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you so much to both my guests. Yeah. If you wanna get in touch with me, I am Alisa Makheta, Alisa Popo Makheta on Facebook. I am Ms. Popo. That's MIZ_POPO 207. Don't forget to follow Your Media SA on Facebook, Your Media SA on Instagram. And if you want to comment, then you must always attach the hashtag where you are so we can keep track of who's watching, what conversations people are having, what matters to them. It was a fantastic show. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the love. Everybody have a great week. Have a great weekend. Good night.